Hey, this is Lito, and in this video, I'm going to talk about Arbitrum, or how to use Arbitrum, because I'm sure you've heard many people talking about Arbitrum, and that's what everyone's talking about. All the new projects are launching there. It's basically a way to use Ethereum applications in an environment where fees are much, much cheaper. And this has already kind of existed before with sidechains such as XDAI or Polygon, which are also very cheap to use and also very easy to deploy Ethereum applications on these networks, but they don't have the same level of security as these new layer 2 solutions such as Arbitrum and Optimism, which really inherit the same security of the Ethereum network. They're not really separate networks in the way Polygon or XDAI are separate networks, or separate layer 1s as we call them. They're actually layer 2s because they're built directly on top of Ethereum. So with that being said, why should you use layer 2, or what can you use on these layer 2s? I actually did a little graphic with crypto testers to show the applications that are already live on Arbitrum. And this was like a month ago, so there's many more since then. But you can see there's like decentralized exchanges such as Sushi, Uniswap, Balancer, Curve. There are like lending protocols such as Cream or DeForce, some derivatives, like perpetual platforms, option platforms like Octus or MCDEX. And then there's Abracadabra.money, GMX. I'm going to talk about Abracadabra a bit later, or MIM, how it's called. And then InstaDApp, Adamant.finance. I'm also going to talk about Adamant. So how do you start going on layer 2? The first step is to actually get Ether onto layer 2, because you need to pay transaction fees in Ether, similar to on layer 1. And that's how you actually recognize it's a layer 2, because these other sidechains such as Polygon and XDAI, they actually have transaction fees denominated in their own token. So Matic and XDAI. But here it's really in ETH. So the first step is to bridge assets over. And in the base case, you will already have like a wallet on Ethereum. Here I have my Metamask. And in my Metamask, I'm connected to the Ethereum network, and you see I have 2 ETH here. So that's like the base case scenario. If you're a completely new user, your funds would be on a centralized exchange, and then you'd have to send them onto your Ethereum wallet in the first step, and then proceed to the second step, which I'm showing here. So normally you'd be logged out here. So I'm starting from scratch. You connect your wallet. So let's say I want to deposit 1.5 ETH now to my layer 2 wallet. Right now, you don't have to worry about not having a layer 2 wallet, because actually your layer 2 wallet already exists. It's the same address than your Ethereum wallet, and you don't have to do anything. You can just send it there, and then I'll show you later how you can actually also see your layer 2 wallet or your Arbitrum wallet in your MetaMask. But right now you can just deposit without seeing it. And here the UI also shows you how much ETH you already have on layer 2. In my case, I already have some funds there. So I'm going to proceed by depositing here. It tells you it takes about 10 minutes. And then it shows you the gas fee that you have to pay. So here it's $26. That fluctuates obviously with the gas fee. Currently, it's about 87 Gwei for a transaction. So it can be cheaper, can be more expensive. I would say this is slightly above average. But once that's done, you can basically track the status of the transaction. You see now the L1 transaction is pending. Once that's confirmed, you will see another bar where it shows the second transaction, the deposit on L2. And once that is confirmed, your funds are basically available to you. So here you see now the second transaction has started, the deposit on L2, which obviously is much faster because layer 2s are much faster. So now that we're waiting for that ETH to arrive, I'll show it to you in a second. But what we can already do is create that layer 2 wallet. And if you've never used Arbitrum before, the easiest way to create a new wallet in your MetaMask is to actually go on chainlist.org, which is pretty useful. And you can search for any layer 2 solution or sidechain. And I'm going to search for Arbitrum now. So Arbitrum One, you click on Connect Wallet. And then you say Add to MetaMask. And then you can switch, you can basically you have Arbitrum connected to your wallet. And once that's done, you only have to do it once. Once you do that, it will always be here in the drop down of available networks, and you can always switch to it. And you can do the same for Polygon. So this is really a useful tool if you're regularly using new chains and you don't want to, like, the other option is to manually add some information into Metamask, like an RPC endpoint and this kind of stuff, which is a hassle. So this is just the easiest way. And then, as I said, you choose the network in the drop down, and here you can see your wallet balance and so on. Another thing that I want to show you, this is important to have ETH before you start, because you need to pay for transaction fees. So to get going, to start using things, you need Ether. Now, another thing that is important and that people are often confused about when they use Arbitrum or another layer 2 solution is they, send, for example, USDC over, which you can do in several ways, but using the Arbitrum bridge, you would just choose another token here. Let's say you want to transfer like an ERC20 token, you would just do it the same way. I have observed that sometimes people struggle with finding a token in their wallet. They say, okay, but I've just bridged a new token, but I can't find it in my MetaMask. And basically, this is because you have to oftentimes add the token manually yourself, because just because you have it in your Ethereum MetaMask doesn't mean it's automatically in your Arbitrum MetaMask. So you have to add these tokens manually. And there are several ways to do this. One is to go on CoinGecko. They normally have a good list of the addresses of tokens, because another thing that I have to add, each ERC20 token has a different address on each network. So USDC has, for example, one address on Ethereum and then another address on Arbitrum. So here you can see the contract address of USDC on Ethereum. And if you click on the three dots, you see all the addresses on different networks. Here you'd copy this address for Arbitrum, and then you'd go into assets, you'd add the token, you add the contract address here. It's already been added in my case, so I'm not going to proceed with it. But here you would then just click next, and then you would see your balance. Imagine you have 1,000 USDC on Arbitrum. Suddenly there would be like a little bar here that says you have 1,000 USDC. The funds were there before, but they weren't just visible in the UI of MetaMask. There's another option, which is to go on the block explorer of Arbitrum, which is called Arbiscan. It's built by the same team that builds the EtherScan block explorer. And you just type in USDC and it shows you that token. And you copy the contract and you do the same thing as you would have done before. Okay, enough of the boring practical stuff. Let's go into like things that you can do when you are on Arbitrum. So let's go back to my graphic. You can see that these are some applications. I know like one farm that is or yield farm that is quite popular at the moment, and it's called Abracadabra.money. So I'm gonna show you how you would use that. So Abracadabra.money is a stablecoin platform, actually. You could call it. It's similar to MakerDAO in that you can basically mint a stablecoin by locking in some ether. So it's similar to MakerDAO in that sense, where you create DAI by locking ether, and here you create a stablecoin called MIM. So MIM stands for Magic Internet Money, which is a quite funny name, but it's actually a serious product. They have like $1 billion of MIM in circulation at the moment. And you can create a new MIM here by going on borrow. Then you just click here on borrow basically, and you type how much MIM you want to borrow. Here you can, it says wrapped ETH by default, but if you want to use ETH, you'd here toggle that. And then if you have you see my ether just arrived that I bridged over. If you want to use the max, you click here on max. And then let's say I want to borrow like 50% of my borrow limit. So you always have like a maximum that you can borrow, given the amount of collateral you've supplied. So here I chose like 50% to be on the safe side. And then you would just click on this button here, add collateral and borrow, and then you'd get MIM. That MIM can then be used on, you can then provide like liquidity on a decentralized exchange called Curve. And yeah, you have to go to arbitrum.curve.fi to find that pool. So Abracadabra launched a factory pool on Curve where you earn, I think, only their own rewards called Spell. That's their governance token. And maybe the Curve also has added some rewards in the form of CRV tokens or Curve tokens. But anyway, there's a API of approximately like 30 or 40% if you just provide liquidity in the MIM pool, and then you just add the MIM that you minted. And I'm in the buy and sell option here. You have to obviously go to deposit because you don't want to trade, but you want to actually deposit. So you would add your MIM here. If you have USDC, you can also add them. In my case, let's say I just have MIM, and then you just click on deposit. And then here you see that you even receive a bonus for only depositing MIM. Apparently the pool needed more MIM. And so once that's done, you can either stake your Curve LP tokens here, which you see that I've done. They're here. And then you automatically receive, here actually you see yield. So I receive 141 spell a day. And it's actually a return on investment of 60% annually. So that's not bad at all. And then I can unstake my LP tokens anytime. So I forgot to mention, if you deposit MIM in this Curve pool, you receive an LP token that proves that you own a share of that pool on Curve. And then you can come and stake it here. Another option that I want to show you that is also quite cool is Adamant. So Adamant is a yield optimizer. What they do is basically in all these farms, you always earn some governance tokens, right? In the case of Abracadabra money, you earn spell. But this spell, it's accumulating and you have to always like claim it and then do something with it, which is cumbersome, and you just want to automate these things. And Adamant, they do that. They harvest or they claim your spell tokens in this case, or in the case of another farm, this other governance token, and they claim it. But since a lot of users put funds into Adamant, they can socialize the cost of claiming the gas cost across many users. And so they can do it much more regularly. What they do is then they claim much more regularly, and then they automatically sell it for the base asset. So in our case, MIM. And so your MIM balance increases. They put it automatically back into Curve for you. And then you get, since you have more MIM, you would also get more spell, and then you compound your yield much faster. And so you see here for the MIM pool, and on top, on top, you also get RB tokens, which is their governance token. So that's how they incentivize more people to deposit. And yeah, this is the APY for the MIM 2 pool on Curve, the one that we just showed. So instead of staking on Abracadabra money, you would stake it, your LP tokens here. And then you see, that's also why I wanted to show you Adamant. They show you all the interesting yield farms on Arbitrum. And they actually also, Adamant also exists on Polygon. So in both cases, I like to go on Adamant because they are specialists in looking at what farms exist, and you can be sure that if it's an interesting one, it will be added to Adamant. And then you can always choose to either do it with Adamant and earn a bit more, or just using the original app. But you can see there's another decentralized exchange called Swapper, Dodo. All these are yield farms that can be explored by you as well. So now, I could also show you, for example, Balancer. Balancer is quite cool, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of a project called Index.finance, and they at the moment provide BAL rewards for liquidity providers on NDX ETH on Balancer. So I'm going to switch here to the Arbitrum network. And then you can see that, here I have NDX ETH that are earning BAL rewards, and my BAL rewards are showing here. And there's an APY or APR even, so that's not taking compounding into account. So APY would be even more, of like 92%. So that's pretty crazy. And if you want to do that, there's also other pools that are incentivized. If you want to do that, you would just here invest into the pool, and then you automatically receive BAL rewards. So Balancer functions differently, where you don't have to take your LP tokens and stake them somewhere. It's done automatically. So that's actually quite a cool feature because you save some gas. You want to see, for example, where you can borrow funds if you want to leverage your position. That could be done on Cream. They just launched, I think. It's quite recent. So you can see that if you connect to this app, you don't even have to switch your network. It detects your network from Metamask, and you can just start using it. And yeah, this is different to, for example, Balancer, where I had to manually switch network. But yeah, here how it works is you basically just deposit an asset, let's say ETH, you'd add 10 ETH here. And then once you have a balance deposited, you can automatically also borrow against it. Here I would borrow, let's say, USDC against it. So that's how it would work. Lastly, I want to show you Hop.exchange. Hop is a fast bridge that connects Arbitrum with other layer 2s and Ethereum, because I showed you can bridge to Arbitrum quite easily and at a good cost. It takes about 10 minutes. But the reverse way is a very different story. You have to wait 7 days for your funds to come back from Arbitrum. And that's because of the high degree of security that you get on Arbitrum. And so they have to do it. There are ways around it. If you use, for example, Hop.exchange, you can bridge instantly from Arbitrum to Ethereum or to other layer 2s, like, for example, Arbitrum, and I want to go back to, let's say, Polygon. I can put 10,000 USDC, and you see you have to pay a little bit, but that's because there are market makers in the system that front this liquidity for you at the destination chain. This is what Hop does. It connects you with market makers that provide you with that upfront liquidity for a fee. And then that would arrive then instantly on your Polygon wallet. So it's actually a pretty convenient service. And you can also withdraw to mainnet. Oh, sorry, that would be the opposite, Arbitrum to Ethereum. You can also withdraw to mainnet. Obviously, the gas fee then is a bit higher because you have to pay the gas fee on the destination. So the market maker sends the funds to your wallet and you need to pay for that. So that here you see there's $20 in costs plus the gas fee. That's a bit more than $100, but you get your funds in 5 minutes instead of 7 days. And the deeper the liquidity in these pools will become, the better the quote will be that you receive. So I expect in the future, people will actually not even use Ethereum mainnet anymore. They will just hop from one layer 2 to another. All the applications will be on layer 2. And even the centralized exchanges will allow you to on-ramp your funds directly from your Coinbase wallet into your Arbitrum wallet. So that's also something to watch out for. There is one other thing that I want to show you. It's how to provide liquidity on Hop, because you can essentially support the system by providing liquidity in AMMs that Hop uses. And there's a very easy way to do it. It's just you go on Pool. If you want to send assets using Hop protocol, you go on Send. If you want to become a liquidity provider, you go on Pool. You choose the asset that you want to provide liquidity on. Currently, there's 3 stablecoins and Matic, but next week they are adding ETH. And you then just go here on Arbitrum USDC. In my case, I have 300 of them. You can leave this blank. If you want to also provide HUSDC, you would have to bridge HUSDC over. I can show you this really quick afterwards. In my case, I leave it blank. You can see your share of the pool here and your positions will be shown here. So that's my position currently. Now it will be a bit more after I've added my $290. Incentive for providing liquidity here is that you earn swap fees. Currently, they're quite low at around 2 or 3%, because the transfer volume from Arbitrum to other networks is not that high yet, but I expect it to become much higher over the next couple of months as layer 2 adoption progresses. Last but not least, I want to show you how to send assets to Arbitrum if you don't have a lot of, you don't have a lot of funds, you don't have a big wallet, and you don't want to go through Ethereum because that's expensive. You first have to withdraw, funds from your Binance account to Ethereum, for example, and then from Ethereum up to Arbitrum via the bridge that we showed you, where you pay like gas. If you only have a small amount of funds available and you really want to save costs, then I suggest there's like two options, because as I said, there's no centralized exchange that deposits funds directly onto your Arbitrum wallet. But there are two exchanges that support withdrawals to Polygon. And one of them is Binance, which supports withdrawals of Matic. So just one token, not any token, but one token. And I showed this here in the tweet, you can withdraw Matic for like 10 cents on Polygon. You just select the coin and then you select the network Matic. You select the amount and you withdraw to your same address as we've shown before. You have the same address on Polygon, on Arbitrum, and Ethereum. So you withdraw to the same address, but choosing a different network. And obviously you have to create that Polygon wallet in your Metamask by going on Chainlist, which I showed before. You proceed with that. And then you would go to a decentralized exchange on Polygon, such as Paraswap or QuickSwap.exchange. I'll link all of those in the video. You then sell your 1,000 Matic or however much you have withdrawn into USDC, then you can send the proceeds of that sale, that USDC, to Arbitrum. That's much cheaper, especially if you only have, let's say, like $1,000 to $2,000 or even less than 1,000. That's much cheaper than going through Ethereum. Obviously, for bigger transfers, it doesn't make that much sense because you have to swap, when you swap from Matic to USDC, you pay like 0.3% of the swap. So if you do it with, $10,000 or $100,000, then you don't care about those Ethereum gas costs. This is really to optimize for a couple of dollars. There's also another option, which is Crypto.com. They only have a mobile app. So you'd have to download the Crypto.com app and KYC, so verify your identity. And then you can withdraw not Matic, also Matic, but also USDC. So you don't have to do that swap. And you can withdraw USDC to your Metamask and then send it over to Arbitrum via Hop. And you can see if we did that $1,000 transfer to Arbitrum, we would pay, starting around $20 in fees. So that's much better than doing it in multiple transactions via Ethereum. So little neat trick. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about how to use Arbitrum. And if you want to learn more about the layer 2 ecosystem, how it works, I will also link a couple of resources. I also encourage you to follow the Crypto Testers account on Twitter, because that's where we'll be posting about the launches of new yield farms on layer 2 and just interesting projects. I hope you're having fun using Arbitrum.